You may think that life and work is so much easier without messy emotions getting involved, but emotions bring so much beauty and depth to everything you do that makes it all so much more meaningful and memorable. Hello, and welcome to the Connect podcast. This show is all about helping you connect to your soul's calling so you can take action on it. Because the sweetest success is a blend of discovering your purpose with the inner drive to bring it to life. I'm Sheila, health coach, lifestyle entrepreneur, and mom of two, best known for my online wellness programs, mentoring, and self-love passion. Listen in for inspiring interviews, solo chats, and Q&A sessions that will move you past overwhelm towards what lights you up. Stop accepting good enough and go for your version of great in your health, business, and relationships. Let's get started. Hi, welcome to this Monday minisode where I share an insight designed to help you live into what lights you up this week. Do you consider yourself a very emotional person, or do you find that your emotions take a lot to come through and you find you can just move through life feeling pretty steady, pretty even-keeled? We are a makeup of a whole bunch of different kinds of personalities. And when you study human design, and I only know like the tip of the iceberg of information about human design, everybody is defined with a different kind of emotional center, emotional, non-emotional. And, that's something that I can invite someone on the show to go more deeply into. But what I have found is it all connects to how we attract energy and what our boundaries are like. And so regardless of whether we consider ourselves to be very emotional people, like if we find it easy to take on other people's emotions, every single one of us, regardless, does have the ability to cultivate boundaries around what we allow in and what we allow to impact us. It is something that definitely needs to be cultivated, though, because it's a practice. When you are an empathic person and you care so much about what you're seeing around you in the larger scale of life or in your own community, your home, it can be very easy to have your emotions to take hold and then slow you down and perhaps even stall you out because you're taking on so much emotional energy from other people. Have you ever found that with yourself? I know I have. I look at various scenarios in my life and think, wow, how can I move forward right now? Because there's this heavy stuff going on, and I want to be able to move ahead with some energy and some vitality, but what will people think if I'm being kind of joyful during this time? Maybe there's a certain amount of acceptable time that I need to be more melancholy and withdrawn. And I think that it certainly looks different for all of us, but you got to be true to yourself. And at the same time, there are those times where we really need to honor the emotions that we are going through and not bypass any of them. That includes the sad ones, and it also includes the joyful ones. That example I just gave you is about kind of concealing the joy that may be residing in your heart because maybe someone else is having a tough time. How do we handle these things? How do we navigate it? We often feel like we need to tread softly. And I really believe this goes hand in hand with conversation I've been having recently about celebration and how people in general, but typically women, have a need to celebrate more. Like I think we need to be celebrating our successes more. That's my opinion. I feel like it's been very easy for us to kind of hide some of these things for fear of standing out. When I really love it when someone is succeeding, and I love to celebrate their success. And when I see them celebrating it, it gives me permission to go for those things that are important to me and to also be able to celebrate them. I think when we see someone doing something that we desire, it just gives us even more juice, even more energy to move forward. So as we honor all of these emotions, even if it's an emotion of feeling like lackluster or you're in some kind of void time where you're not quite sure what way to go, that is also an emotion to honor because Our bodies, our hearts, our souls are trying to get our attention and trying to get a message to us. And if we're not honoring those emotions, if we're pushing them aside because they're not popular, or because we need to feel like we have to be positive all the time, or if we feel like we can't be too positive because with the state of the world as it is, isn't that insensitive to the people who are struggling? Like it's a whole spectrum of things that we navigate in our minds. If we're not honoring those things, we are missing messages that I believe the divine is trying to get to us through those emotions. Emotions are incredibly powerful. And you may think that as you approach your life and your work, it's just so easy to try not to be too emotional, not get too high, not get too low, because then you can just move forward. But I have found that when you really allow emotions into the mix, there's beauty and depth that comes from them that you cannot find from just like going from point A to point B to point C and following this linear path. We learn things from our emotions. Our emotions are there to teach us something. The first thing they're there to teach us is that we are human. We are not perfect. We are not expected to be perfect. We are different every day. We go through cycles and seasons, and we need to honor those seasons because that is how we grow, and that is how we connect with others too. If we're bypassing our emotions, how can we truly be a good friend, a good partner, a good parent, a good neighbor if we don't have the ability to face our own emotions? If someone is in need of space holding, or someone that you really care about, that you want to be there for, has some emotions they're going through, you may find yourself ill-equipped to be able to even just be with that person. So this week and this year, throughout your life, I invite you, and I invite myself, to get comfortable with the whole spectrum of emotions, to learn to sit with them, to mine them for the gold that exists within each one. And the beautiful thing about emotions is that they do shift and they do pass, and they don't stay exactly the same for a long, long time. We have the capability of moving through them. And the best way to move through them, in my experience, and this is just my experience, you may have something different that you can share, but it is to do just that, to move through them, to process them in some way. For me, that means having a conversation with someone. Imagine, right? Of course, I'm a verbal processor. That helps me process. Other people, it may be writing. Perhaps maybe for you, you like to draw or to paint what your emotions are. Maybe it's writing a piece of music. Maybe it's acting it out, like writing a screenplay. Like, we all have different ways of expressing these things, and they're all exactly what they need to be because they are yours. I guess my invitation is really, don't be afraid of your emotions. Honor them. Honor them however they are showing up for you. I hope that as you go through this week, you honor however you're feeling, and also be open to knowing that your emotions can change and that there can be goodness around the corner as well. And all is possible. So I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for you listening to these episodes. And I wanted to let you know it's a very exciting week because the Seasons Self-Care app is soft launching this week. I decided last spring to design a new way to support my community of women looking to thrive in their overall well-being for the long term. And I envisioned a place where inspiration met tangible practices and guidance, one that offered dialogue and a community away from mainstream social media. Like, I love my social media channels, and I also know how distracting they can be. So as I'm working with women, I love to give them a space where they can step into it offline as well. And so after researching different options, some ready-made community spaces, and even a text list, which you may remember I was talking about last spring, I decided to create my own native app. And so you're going to see information about it. You can go to the link in the show notes. I have a blog talking all about it, but just a real high-level recap of it is the app is free, and it's being reviewed by the App Store and the Google Play Store. But there also will be other ways of reaching it. And so it's free with complimentary content, in-app paid programs that include private mentorship options, a live group connection element, and a community coaching feature. The free version includes daily reminders and mantras to keep you on track with your wellness and self-care practices, a cyclical self-care primer, which shows you how to eat, move, and live in a way that jives with your body and your schedule, a self-care meditation, a collection of supportive audio and video content, and guidance to support your eating, supplementation, exercise, and mindfulness. So while this app awaits approval in the Google Play and App Store, the online portal that you can access from the browser on your computer, tablet, and phone will be soft launching next week. So you can find it in the browser on your phone, right? So stay tuned. I'm so excited. Oh my goodness. And you got to go read the blog. I mean, I invite you to do that because it goes into how this whole thing developed. It's been an open tab behind the scenes here while I've been chatting with you on the podcast. So you can hear how it all came together. It was not linear. And I don't think I'll ever create anything in the same way ever again, because the way I built this thing was so beautiful and it's something I want to replicate. So yay. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your week, and I look forward to connecting up with you on Wednesday. I'm going to be sharing a few more highlights about the app and some other thoughts on the seasons of your self-care. Looking forward to connecting with you again. Big blessings. Thank you so much for being here with me on the Connect podcast. If you like this episode, please share it with someone you think would enjoy it. Also, if you head over to iTunes to leave a review, I'd be so grateful. Let us know what your favorite parts were and what you'd like to hear more of. It will help us have a greater impact, elevating many more people to grow and succeed together. See you next time.